All right, ladies and gentlemen, we begin our lectures today on listening. That is IELTS listening. If you are taking IELTS, remember that IELTS is an English proficiency test. That is, it's just a test that assesses your English to know whether you are good enough. It's mostly used for immigration purposes, and there are sometimes requirements for schooling or for nursing board registration, which has been the significant one that we mostly use it for in Ghana here. So IELTS actually has a lot of purpose, a lot. Now, listening is just or the listening test assesses your ability to decode. Decode means to hear something and transcribe it into writing. Okay, so you get conversations, others are just simple talk that one person might be giving, others might be quite academic. Some of the sections that you will get within your listening will also be more of everyday conversations. All right, so they assesses all these just to know how good you are when it comes to everyday information, when it comes to someone giving forth um, a lecture or yeah a presentation, and you have to pick out certain things that the person says out of them. All right, and how good enough are you when it comes to the discussion, because these are things that happens within our everyday life setting, right? You might be going, you strike up a conversation with someone, and you'll be communicating. You have to listen to the person, understand before you can also speak. Okay, so that's the purpose of your listening, assessing your ability to decode in the English language. Now, IO listening comes in four sections in all, and the total time that you use for the test is 30 minutes. And the 30 minutes is actually when the audio starts to play. So you'll be listening to the audio while answering questions. Okay. So an audio will be playing that conversation. So I know most of you who are in here may have taken WASI before, and just like how the English orals are, okay, you go to the exam hall, there are speakers all around you, and the speakers are playing, and you are just picking out answers from whatever that they are saying based based on the based on the kind of question that you'll be given. All right. Okay, so you have 30 minutes in all to complete your test. So at the start, you start listening, you pick out answers through the four sections that you'll go through. And fortunate for you, if you are writing the paper-based test, okay, so IELTS actually comes in two formats. We have the paper-based test and the computer-based test. And these are the two different, they're just similar questions. However, just that you are taking one on a computer and the other one you are taking it with on paper. On paper, you'll be writing with a pencil, and in the exam hall, you'll be given a paper printed with the questions on it, and you have the questions separate, and you have an answer sheet. The answer sheet is marked from 1 to 40, where you write your answers according to the questions that have been given. Okay, so if you find the answer for question 1, you write in the section designated for 1. All right, and be writing with pencil. Okay, and Ghana British Council doesn't produce pencils during your test, so whenever you are going, make sure to get yourself a pretty much nice pencil. All right, and that actually happens, or it's in that same way you go about your reading. You'll be writing with pencil. You're writing, you'll be writing with pencil. Okay, so that's how it is. Now, if you're writing the paper base, you have 10 minutes to transfer your answers. So this takes so much time that you get on your hand to write the answers from question 1 to question number 40. All right. So when you start your work, as in start work, the audio start playing. With the paper base, you get to write on the answer on the question paper, because the speaker is speaking and you're trying to fill in the blanks, okay, or take some multiple choice or kind of do some matching. You understand? Good. Now, after the audio is done, you now transfer the answers, okay, from the question paper that you've checked your answers on, or you've written some of the answers on, onto the answer booklet. However, if you are good enough and you can write these straight away, okay, go ahead and do it. If you can't, just relax, because you have 10 minutes to transfer these answers. And it's at that point that you ensure that whatever that you are writing is legible, very easy to read. And the fact is that they mostly use um, computer scanners to mark these kind of questions. That's why if you just make an error, they will get you very easily. The spelling is wrong, is singular, however you wrote as a plural something, you get it wrong. Okay, so ensure that your writing is quite legible, because they kind of scan all the scripts, okay, and put the image into an image recognition marking system, marking machine, and it's automatically produce the answers for them. They just convert it into the urban score for you. Okay, so make sure that when you are transferring your answers, they are quite illegible. It's easy to read. Okay. On the other hand, if you are writing a computer-based test and you are doing your listening, this is what happens. As the audio starts, you get to pick your answer. Okay, type them into the space or the editable sections that have been given within the software. Okay, so you see the question, you see a gap there, you can click within the gap to do what? To type in your answer. So just go ahead, excuse me, go ahead and just type your answer in right away, because at the end of your test, IELTS only gives you, let me pick my pointer, my pen rather. IELTS only gives you 4 minutes. If you are using a computer based, you are writing a computer based test, 4 minutes to kind of look over your work and rectify anything that you think might be wrong or might be misspelled or something. It just give you 4 minutes. And right after the 4 minutes, since it's a computer, it automatically shuts down and submits your answers for you. And probably you are just marked immediately. So there and then you can even know your score. However, I have to take time to compile all the other sections together before coming out with your entire um, scores for each section. Okay, now you're gonna listen to the audio, write or type answers, and it's gonna assess your decoding skills as I've talked about earlier. The test contains 4 sections. That's section 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, this one should be 4 over here. Section 4. And from question 1 to question 10 is for section 1, 11 to 20, section 2, and that's how you follow suit to question number 40. And as you go through this, the level of difficulty increases in the sense that in section 1, you'll be given a break from question 1 to question 5. They will give you a break. Question 6, question 10. After that, they'll give you a break to check your answers before they'll give you time to look at question number 11 to question number 15 or 16 thereabout. Okay, depending on how the question is structured, so that you look through it before the whole section what begins. Now, when you get to question number section number 4 over here, okay, from question 31 to question 40, there is no break between question number 31, 35, and from 36 to 40. There's no break there. So as the fellow starts to speak and you start answering question 31, there is no break. You continue to question number 40, you are done. Okay, you continue to you are done. So that's where the difficulty comes in. So your ability to concentrate for that length of time, okay, reading, highlighting your keywords, and just following the audio tight and keenly is what will save you on Thursday so that you can concentrate and pick out your answers easily. And mostly that session, the type of answers that you get are mostly one word, just only one word that they'll be looking out for. So you have to concentrate and know which word they are putting forth or they are speaking so that you can just pick them into the gap that have been given. Okay, now this is how your scoring is. Okay, you'll be scored on a band basis. So that's the band score and the associated raw score. All right. So you know the band score that you want. If most students want from here forward, okay. So if you know you are aiming for this, make sure that you are aiming for band 7 forward. Make sure that if you are practicing, okay, you practice good enough to a point where you know you are confident that you are scoring this consistently before you go to take the test. Okay. All right. And there's no mark deductions, as in if you get one wrong, they will take a marks from you. No. So in case you are answering, you get to a point, the audio seems quite faster. You were left behind on one question. Okay. You jumped and you answered the rest. You can just come back and come guess the answer and just write it over there. Okay, you not be penalized for that. If you don't write it, you just left it blank. However, if you write something and it happens to be the correct one, hooray! Okay, so that 10 minutes that you get to transfer your answers, make sure to read the section that you may have jumped and fit in something that it's highly probable. Okay. All right. So let's check out the question type that you get. The question types we have a gap fill. That's the most common one, especially in section one. You get a lot of gap fills or short answers to give. Section two may give you some of them may be multiple choice where they may give you 5 options to pick two. Okay, may give you 5 options to pick two. Sometimes it's 3 options to pick one, the multiple choice. Okay, sometimes there is mapping where you might see a diagram, and within the diagram they are talking about stuff, or someone is kind of giving directions. They will show where to start, what is on the left, what is on the east, west, south. Okay, and there will be certain things on the map that will be landmarks that you can use to easily identify what they are talking about. And they are mostly associated, they come with A, B, C, D, those alphabets in capitals. All right, that's how they come. So your ability to determine um, where you are standing and to follow the speaker as he or she speaks and gives the direction will aid you into finding what and where that specific thing is. Also, there are matching where you get to match certain things that will be probably in the dialog box, also labeled A, B, C, D, E, kind of. Okay, and you match those to specific um, questions that have been asked. Probably they are talking about, um, let's say, reasons why people go to the gym, all right, or certain things that people do to keep fit. Others say they'll go to the gym, others say they'll run, others say they like biking, others say they like swimming, others say they like skiing. Okay, and they'll be talking about probably reasons why they like that kind of activity, and they will want you to match those reasons to that specific what activity. Okay, so out of A to J or A to whatever the list is, mostly doesn't bypass J. Okay, so you have like 7 options. And out of those 7 options, you are picking 4 out of them, two or 4 or 5 out of them to fit in into a specific kind of section that are below. Going forward, we take a look at some of them. So just stay put. Now, remember that you will hear different kind of accents. All right. So accents are just, would you say, the way a specific group of people speaks a specific language. Okay, let's take Ghana for instance. Ghana, we have our accents when it comes to the English language. Nonetheless, if a Nigerian is speaking English, you can easily identify that this is a Nigerian speaking English. Fine. The person is pronouncing the words correctly. The person is not making any kind of grammatical error. However, the way the person speaks, okay, shows you where the person is coming from. All right. So the way an American speaks is quite different from that of a British. Okay. The same way with New Zealand kind of English, the Canadian English, the Australian English. So all these accents, okay, you might hear them on the test. There are sometimes you even hear of an Indian accent in there. Okay, so not you are not limited to these, especially when it comes to section number 3 here, where it's quite a discussion. Let's say a student is discussing something with the lecturer. The lecturer is a native speaker, probably an Englishman. However, the student is probably, let's say, a student from Africa, a student from India. You understand? So as they are having a conversation, you get to know that this accent is quite different from that. Okay, it's quite different from that. So you just have to take note and just ensure that you hear the thing well and you answer your question because that's what you went there for. Now, let's take a very big note over here. You only hear the speaker speaks once. So you don't get a chance to hear the recording multiple times or even two times, not even two. You just hear it once and for all. So if you miss something and you think you're gonna come back and repeat that, unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, you'll be lost. So over here, if you are listening out for something and in case you miss it, please jump to the next question and answer from that place forward. Okay? If you try that you want to figure out what the person said by thinking around before choosing an answer, okay, and trying to continue on, by the time you try to continue to the next one, they have already given the answer for the next one and they are on to the following one. And that one means that you are losing about 3 marks in a row. So it's better just lose one, jump and answer the rest correctly than to try to think around and end up losing the subsequent kind of questions that you are answering. Okay. Okay. And one happy thing is that all the answers are in order. All the answers are in order in the sense that if you haven't heard the answer for question one, you're not going to hear the answer for question two. Likewise, if you haven't heard the answer for question number 11, you're not going to hear it for question number 12. Okay, so that's how they are sequenced. So these are some tips that I'll entreat you to always be mindful of. I mean, pay close attention and be cognizant of it. One is to be ready for the test, and to be ready, you have to practice frequently. Okay, make sure you practice frequently. That's what you know that yes, I'm actually ready for the test because you know the score that you practice and you get mostly. Therefore, you can replicate that during the test. Okay, and you know what to expect. You know that okay, if you start section one, it's quite easy. Section two, there is a little bit of increase in difficulty alongside. That's what you expect. Section one is everyday conversation. So you know, okay, I'm starting question one, I'm starting with section one, so I know that I'll be highlighting my stuff. So I just go straight up and highlight it. Forget about whatever they are saying initially, and then highlight your stuffs as quick as possible because you are there to answer questions and get them correctly and just go your way. Okay. Next is to read the instructions carefully. Ladies and gentlemen, this is one point I would like to emphasize. And it's very important. If you don't read instructions, you end up doing something that you're not supposed to do at all. And that means everything in there or everything that you've done is null and void. I mean, it's void. So I always invite my student that read the instructions, highlight the instructions, underline it. Just underline the instructions so that you'll be sure. If they say one word and or a number, know what to look out for. Okay, they are asking you to write one word and a number, one word or a number. All right. So if you are there to write November 7, you can write November as in words and write 7 in words. That would be wrong. But you can write November as in November, the capital N, in words and write 7 as a figure. You are correct because the instruction says one word and or a number, and you have written one word and a number. You are correct because that's what you heard from the audio. That's correct. Ladies and gentlemen, I can't emphasize enough on instructions because if you miss it, the entirety of the section that you are answering, you might get everything wrong. Okay, now you have to take note of words and the limits. Okay, sometimes you say, okay, two words. Oh, you say just pick an alphabet A to J. You know that you are picking just A, B, C, D over there. Okay, you don't go writing the entire thing that have been uh, attached to A. Okay, just the A, B's, that's what they are looking out for. So you know this is what they are talking about. You come and pick their A for them. If it's a G, go for it. Okay. Next is to be sure of your spellings. Over here, if you spell it wrongly, it's a wrong answer. Simple. So make sure that whatever that you write is spelled correctly. Whatever you write is spelled correctly. If even if you omit one word, it's wrong. If the word is singular and you end up writing the plural form, is wrong. So you ensure that the right form of the word is written. And one thing that will help you know is if you read the statement where the gap is, the gap has been created, okay? And lo and behold, you hear the answer from the speakers. All right, the speaker went ahead and gave you the answer. You heard it, and you are writing it. If it's singular, please put a singular there. If it's plural that you're looking out for, make sure that it's the plural form of the word that you are writing. If it's a proper noun, ensure that you are starting with a capital. Okay. If it's a proper noun, you end up writing with a small letter. That's wrong. Somebody's name and you are writing with small letters. The initial letter is small. Come on, you get it wrong. All right. So one thing is don't get stuck on a difficult question. Move forward. I think I've talked about this earlier. Move forward quick, and you have to build your concentration. There are a lot of people who can concentrate. They get interjected by things that are quite irrelevant. They can't focus their attention for a while. Let's say 5, 6, 7 minutes. They are just focused on a, a thing that they are doing, and they are not looking at whatever is happening anywhere. They're not thinking about anything. Sometimes people have concentration problems because they are doing something, but their brain is also thinking about something else. That's a whole different ball game. Come on. So build your concentration to listen keenly, follow the flow of things, okay, and pick out your answers. Trust me, if you're able to build a concentration for, let's say, just 10 minutes, that's good. The reason why I'm saying it's good is that the whole section one will take you less than 10 minutes to complete. The longest section, which is section 4, okay, will take you less than 10 minutes to finish up. So if you're able to build that kind of consistent concentration, you're able to listen. Anything that happens in the background or wherever doesn't concern you. What you're concerned about is that you are using that time frame to concentrate solely on something and you do it. Others, there are people who also get distracted by their phone. So I would just entreat you that it's either you put your phone on a silent, okay, or just throw it somewhere and learn. When you are done with whatever you are doing, you can go back to your phone and go enjoy it. Okay. Some are just distracted by notifications and all that. All right. So these are the basic tips, and Every single thing over here is important. Make sure to assimilate them, understand them, and use it to your own benefit. Okay, so these are certain resources if you are having a little bit of challenge kind of hearing what the audio says. Okay, you can check out BBC Sounds. BBC Sounds has podcasts. Okay, the first link over here will go straight to a podcast. It is called Crowd Science. If you enter the second link over here, you can go there and just type in a search bar. There's a search bar in there. Just type in crowd science, crowd, and science. They have a nice catalog of science related questions that might come up. And those people who um, produce this kind of shows are native speakers. They speak clearly. They use words that are a little bit sometimes unfamiliar. Like there are certain uncommon words that they use that you can pick up to help your own vocabulary. Okay, and that vocabulary you can use that vocabulary in your writing. If you see that vocabulary within the reading, you know it because you heard it somewhere. You probably checked the meaning of the word. Okay, and right now you understand the words in context and you can use it. Right. So to boost your listening ability, go to BBC Sounds slash podcast. There are a lot of podcasts available. I preferably like crowd science because it's science based and it's quite related to everyday things happening within the world about science. All right. So there are a lot of podcasts over there. You are free to choose any of them that you like because if it's something that you like, that will keep you on your toes and to help increase your concentration. That's the whole point. Okay, that's the whole point. To keep you on your toes so that you can concentrate for a long while. Okay, however, if you want some abstract stuff, you can come to crowd science. It's every day, but let's sometimes abstract because they delve deeper into science and all that. So this thing can be helpful to you. And if you have an iPhone, you can just check it out. It's within your podcast app. Okay, so you go to your podcast, just type in crowd science and search for it. You just see it, and you can listen to the episode. It will help your listening abilities so much, so much. All right, so we end here and we continue with our section one. We go into depth of it going forward. Thank you. Have a good day.